Doop, dooba doop.
All right, now the microphone's good. Everyone's great. Hey, hi everybody.
What's up?
Hello, stop and start.
It's a scuba sighting again.
It is, and
maybe
it's a rye. There's a wild rye.
Wild rye. That's kind of scary. I don't know if I want to deal with a wild rye, but a rye guy might be worth dealing with. Can you deal with me, people? Hopefully you can.
Oh, hopefully you missed him.
Hopefully you missed me. If not, I'll just keep on talking until you do. So.
That works. That works. Hey, welcome back. It's Scuba and The Ry. This is
guys.
episode 124.
124.
Of our weekly chit-chat about movies and entertainment and life in general.
Everything in between.
So it's just to reset that expectation. This is a free-form conversational podcast. We're just going to talk about what we talk about. Kind of think of this as a relaunch of Scuba and The Ry, because we've been away for a couple of months.
Yes.
Had a lot of adventures over the summer.
Hiatus and a recharged with some new things and other things.
Yep.
Some other simmering things, but it's all part of the summer thing and summer flings and all that vibe.
Yep. So trying a couple of new things, new format, new release stuff. So bear with us, have fun, and we'll just keep on rolling.
Yes.
So it's been a fun summer, don't you think, Ryan?
Yeah, it's been a big fun summer. So, putting the notes together for this return to the podcast, it gave me a lot to add in there that we can talk about, from our summer travels and stuff and other things. Movies, comics, and still random odds and ends here and there, but we've had some hit the road. Both of us hit the road, but head in two different directions.
Yeah, you went south to Miami, Florida. I went north to Watertown, New York.
Yes, sir. So down south, it's hot, like it's hot everywhere, but hit Florida. There was around the Memorial Day weekend. So traveled to Florida because my nephew was graduating from high school. So turned that into a vacation. So we traveled down to Florida, Miami. So we did Miami Beach for a couple days. Then I took my girlfriend down she'd never been to the Florida Keys. So I promised the second time we would go to Florida, we would do the Florida Keys. So we did a couple days down in the Keys. Had a lot of fun down there. Got to take her to Robbie's, which is this little pier where you can feed the tarpons and get attacked by pelicans if they so happen to attack you, or just chill with pictures. If you see my Facebook, you know what I'm talking about. Key West was fun. Got to visit all the hot spots. My favorite spot we visited a couple times was the Cuban Coffee Queen. I don't really like coffee, but their coffee is stupendous.
Okay.
Got to go to the Key West Lighthouse, walked around Duval Street, hit up the shops, did go to Margaritaville, got my dad a hat because he asked me to. A couple of the restaurants down there. Went to the oldest restaurant in Key West called Pepe's. It was really good food. Did the tourist thing, went to the southernmost point. Have pictures on my Instagram if you follow me there. And then the cool thing I didn't know, maybe I should have known, is that you can walk around with a drink in your hand, because they had a bar near the southernmost point and they were giving out margaritas. And I asked the lady, just, curious. It's like, okay for me to walk around with this drink in my hand? It's like, yeah, it's fine. Okay. So I told her to add in extra tequila. So I had more fun walking around. So yeah. So other than that, also, I got to visit our mutual friend, Craig. He lives in Florida, so every time I've managed to go to Florida, we found time to hang out. And the middle point, because he lives in Tampa, so the middle point is Naples. So cross the Alligator Way to get over there. We actually went to the Naples Botanical Gardens, which is very, very a lot of floral there. So it was really good. And then did the graduation, came back, and most summer has been concerts, summer shenanigans with films. I went to a lot of concerts because haven't been to concerts a lot. So once they started coming back, I went full force. So four concerts. Four concerts since the last time we podcast. So it was a variety of music. First show was at the Pavilion in Portsmouth. R&B singer goes by the name of Her. Was really good. First R&B concert I've ever been to, and I was blown away. She's one of the most talented musicians I've seen on stage. He played every instrument. Second concert we saw, go back to the 90s, Jewel and Train. If people familiar with the 90s knows about Jewel, and then Train is a very alternative soft rock band. Changed it up a little bit. Went to a country concert, Luke Bryan. Everybody knows Luke Bryan from American Idol if you've watched that, but he's really good in concert. And then ended it off, at least until the next concert I go to after this, another 90s boy band people might be familiar with, Backstreet Boys. You may be familiar with them. Put on, it's kind of funny. It's like when I go to some of these concerts, I'm very timid. It's like, is it going to be that Backstreet Boys concert? It was really good. It was pretty much them for like 2.5 hours. So
really?
Yeah, but they have a lot of material, so they went on for a while. So, and then just summer shenanigans. On the beach, I've been frequenting the zoo again because I have a membership. So I've been posting photos from my shenanigans there. They are opening up a new exhibit at the zoo this fall. It's a turtle oasis at the old sea lion exhibit. So look forward to that. And then that's it. That's pretty much it. And I'll get into the rest of the stuff with movies and shenanigans later.
Which we'll do.
Other than heading south, you went north.
Yes, I went north.
What's up there in the great state of New York?
Well,
upstate.
Before I do that, I want to take a minute and talk about a couple of housekeeping things.
Okay.
Number one,
rewind.
Want to shout out and thank you to Sirenscape for all the background music and soundboards you can hear. Like if we're quiet for a minute, you should hear some musician in the background.
Thank you, Sirenscape. Very groovy in its way. Very serendipitous.
So yeah, you can check out sirenscape.com and check out their online player, which is great for if you're running tabletop games virtually or in-house, and a lot of various options. One of the things I just got to take a minute to talk about is, as we're sitting here getting ready for this, I was setting up Sirenscape. We've been using it for about two almost 3 years.
Yeah. Pretty most
great company,
most of the podcast running time.
Yeah. So we've been using that for the backgrounds. Well, for the longest time, I'd only hear it off the computer that had the player, where I would select my options on one computer, and it would play on another computer, and then we'd hear the sound.
Okay.
I very rarely would actually hear the sound. This whole time we've been getting ready in our pre-show stuff, I've been hearing the music through Sirenscape, through the web interface, because it looks like they just updated their website a bit, and come to find out it's playing on both computers. I just have to adjust the volume on one. A year of using this app, I haven't done that. Now they got this new feature where it works. So hey, love it.
Sometimes it happens that way. You don't notice a feature until months down the road.
Oh yeah,
maybe even years. But hey, you found it.
So
now it's there.
Go check them out. And hey, if you're going to Gen Con, you'll probably see a couple of the guys from Sirenscape at Gen Con.
All right, check them out.
Yep, Gen Con is up. So yeah, okay. So now that I did that plug,
we go from the south
plug later
to the north.
Yeah, I went north. I went to Watertown, New York. Took a family vacation up there. First time I'd done a vacation in years.
It's been a while. I know you were talking.
Been a minute.
Yeah.
Went and stayed with a friend's parents out on their property. It's like two and a half acres right there, overlooking one of the rivers. And it was great because it was mild, 75, 78 degrees, no humidity. The entire 2 weeks we were up there. Every night for the first week, it was a big old campfire and cocktails and the kids running around on ATVs and stuff. So
that sounds like fun.
It was great. It was great. We got a lot of great videos for that. We got one where it was like a herd of deer had run across the back half of the property. I think my wife posted that on her Instagram and Facebook. But one of the deer tripped and fell.
Oh,
got up and kept going, so
why? I don't know.
I don't know, but overall it was fun. I mean, it was relaxing. It was chill. It was great. I did do some work. I wasn't complete beach bum, lack of a better term.
I was more of a beach bum, but hey, I had a beach right there, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I still did a little bit of work stuff.
Miami people,
but,
Miami.
it is what it is. Probably one of my favorite things is every morning I woke up and I looked across the river and could wave at Canada. We were that close to the Canadian border.
Yeah, I remember seeing that photo. I was like, dang, our mutual friend wasn't lying. He lived that close to Canada.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of places you could drive right across the border. It's like, cool. So I'll keep that in mind when I roll up to Collingwood, because it looks like I'm working on going to Collingwood for a work function in September, so that should be...
Hopefully that happens. Yes.
Well, right now I'm just waiting for my passport to come in the mail.
Yeah. Well, you can't cross the border without that little thing called a passport.
Unless you're a New York State resident. Because New York State residents, they have an option for an enhanced driver's license that works the same way as a passport, just for crossing over to Canada, because so many cross the border like that. So that's an interesting little tidbit.
That's interesting, but that's cool. That's a cool random knowledge to know.
Oh yeah, but bottom line, after this trip up there, it's like I want to get a cottage up there and make that a regular vacation spot to spend some of the hot summer weeks instead of spending the hot miserable summer in Virginia. Let me go north and where it's chill.
Yep, if you can do it, definitely do it, because if it's a good way to escape, to have some place to escape to. You go north, I escape south, so there's always it's always good to have a spot to go to.
It is, and it's starting to get that in for camping, because I took all my camping gear up there to sort out what gear I had, what gear I needed, and kind of see, okay, where do I want to go with camping? Because I haven't done it. I used to love being outdoors. I just don't do enough of it because, hey, I work in IT.
Yeah.
IT and outdoors aren't exactly mutually work together,
It's one of those things where it doesn't really connect.
No, it doesn't really. No. So, but now I'm looking, and as such, I've gotten into, okay, I have a Jeep Wrangler. I want to go camping again. So now I'm looking for camper trailers I can use with my Wrangler, which basically means I'm going to want to get into what they call overlanding, which is basically you hook up the Wrangler, you hook up a trailer, or you turn your Wrangler into an RV, which you could totally do with aftermarket parts. And you basically just drive into the wilderness and camp.
There you go.
So I have been binging a lot of different videos on YouTube for overlanding and teardrop trailers to try to see what I want to do with that and see how that goes. So that might be some content that's coming for that, because I know I don't have a whole lot of content I put out. I've been, kind of away from that game, but I got a couple of things in the works. One of them is I just paid off my Jeep.
That's always a plus.
I bought a roof rack for the Jeep.
There you go.
And this is one of those tube styles that bolts to the frame of the Jeep, not just the top.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's supposed to arrive. But here's the thing. It's a discontinued item. So I want to preface that off the top. They don't make it anymore. But when I was trying to figure out, okay, how does this whole thing go together?
Okay.
I couldn't find a YouTube video for it.
Interesting.
Most I could get is a little media flash from the manufacturer on it, but no instruction. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to figure something out, and I'll probably shoot a video of me putting this thing together on my Jeep, because I already know I have to modify my bumper. I have to make sure all the parts fit together, and then I have to look at what am I going to do for some pieces that I think I need that are not a part of this initial kit.
There you go.
But I can't say I bought the whole thing. Part of my education, I should say, my education.
Learning something there, Scoob. Learning something.
2 weeks learning how to shop from my friend's dad, who, it's an interesting mindset, because it's used to, okay, I need it, I want it, I'm going to buy it right now.
Yeah.
How fast can I get it? And the thing is, you pay for that.
Yeah.
He was kind of getting me into the mindset of, do I need it now? No, I can wait. Then I could save a few bucks, because now I'm searching and finding ways to where I get the cheapest deal, even if it might take a few extra days to get said item.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes patience is the key.
Yeah, so this roof rack was one of those first examples of that. I was searching eBay and all these other places. I found it. It looked like it was a good price. I ordered it. Learned some things after ordering it initially. But, we'll get into that at another point. But that's all part of this. Now I want to look at overlanding and camping and getting back outside to see how that helps with my overall health concerns.
Oh, yeah.
Being more active means more mobile. More mobile means I'm more fit. More fit means I might be around this mortal coil just a tad bit longer.
Just a little bit longer. A little bit. Move that finger up an inch. There you go.
Yeah. That's totally what's up.
And,
totally
with the camping, you can definitely practice in this area with a lot of different places here.
Oh, yeah. I got a whole bunch of stuff from Newport News. So I'm going to check Newport News out. I'm looking at the Shenandoah. I'm looking at the fact that I've got a couple of road trips coming up in September where I'm gonna look to drive with my
Yep.
Jeep, and it's like I might just do a little practicing while I'm doing that and think, okay, if I took this doing here, what would I need for X, Y, and Z? In fact, there's we're gonna go. There's a RV kind of sale or event a couple weeks from now here in Hampton that we're gonna go check out just to kind of see,
Yep.
because you know.
Yep. Speaking of RV shows, they do have one regularly in Virginia Beach around February, March.
Yes.
So
That was canceled for 2022, but it is looking to be back in 2023. I did look that up. I'm looking forward to checking that out.
just add that on your deck since you are starting to look at RVs. So
Well, that
looking
going
out
to
for you,
cons
Scoop.
and events and shows.
Yep.
It's like, you know,
Superstar Anime is next weekend here, so I'm
Okay.
definitely looking forward to going to do that. So, and then that's the only one because money has to go somewhere else.
I mean, we're dealing with the highest rate of inflation in 40 some odd years or 50 some odd years or whatever, depending on which news outlet you listen to.
Yeah, but no, it's more inflation is what it is, but it's more tuition is coming up, so can't go
that's
to a
right.
lot of
You
can't
got
go
classes starting again.
So I can't go to a lot of things. I mean, I can manage my money, but I try to budget wisely.
I actually got a new app for that. I was looking at a friend of mine was telling me about
I need to learn about this app. What are you talking about,
it's
Scoob?
called Truebill. It's
Truebill.
about to change its name, but
Okay.
it's called Truebill. It's part of the Rocket group.
Okay.
But you've seen some of the ads about this. This is supposedly one of those things that allows you to kind of collate all of your various accounts.
Okay.
Right? Like, you and I, we do a lot of streaming, so we've got a lot of different streaming accounts: Disney, Hulu,
Yep.
Netflix, Crunchyroll, half these other things.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're paying for stuff you're not really paying attention you're paying for it, and then so you have multiple accounts. So this is an app that allows you to collate it all together and kind of look at budgeting, and then do things like I have a feature right now where it says I could potentially get have them negotiate on my behalf to lower 2 of my monthly bills to
Okay.
where they're not quite so crazy. So a lot of interesting in that. I'm liking it because it's kind of helped me see, because I have a couple of credit cards I can't view easily. This is pulling it all into one place. I mean, there's a lot of different apps that go out there and do that. Mint did it for a while. I tried that. Wasn't too bad. But I'm liking so far I'm liking Truebill. The reason I say they're about to change the name is an email came out from their CEO just a couple days ago, letting everybody know that, hey, they are changing their name to Rocket Billing, or where they're going to still offer the same stuff, but they're just changing their name because of their part of the Rocket group. So
Yeah, it makes sense. Keep it cohesive.
but so far I'm liking it because it allows me to really kind of see, okay, monthly spending and all that in a much more graphic interface.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I have my tools. I do that. I have like a spreadsheet. I keep track of the major bills, but that is definitely a good way to keep things when you have apps like the Truebill and Mint Mobile and all that stuff.
yeah, so we'll see in a couple of months, see if I can get some more of the more momentum, because if I want to buy another piece of property, I really need to get some stuff tightened up.
Yeah.
To cover the cost of two property locations, let alone buying a camper. Because I gotta be honest with you, even if I could build my own, which I'm not 100% comfortable with doing, or I could buy one, and if I buy one, I'm still looking at anywhere from $18,000 to $30,000
Yeah.
for a teardrop trailer that works with my Jeep, or an overlanding trailer or something like that works with a small vehicle for going out there. Not like, the big freaking fifth wheels you see where when you go out to a campground that has RVs, these giant trailers.
Yeah.
We're not even going to talk about how much those cost.
They are what they are.
But it would mean I'd have to change vehicles, which
Yeah.
the plan is to buy a new vehicle at some point. But it's I kind of want to stay with the Jeep family and get a Gladiator.
Yeah, I know you were looking at that before.
But if I want, depending on what camper I get, is what vehicle I would have to get.
So you're getting a camper to tow, or?
I'm thinking the tow. I mean, you could go the route of the Class A or the Class B, which is basically you drive it. It's its own vehicle and all of that.
Yeah.
Or, get the trailer and hook on, go to your thing, unhook. I mean,
Yeah, I know my dad has the camper that sits on the truck. So
Yeah. Those are definitely an option. Those come a long way too. Now,
Yeah.
my sister sold me a camper, an old camper that I'd have to retrofit and not retrofit, renovate.
There you go.
It's a complete gut job. Have to be completely renovated. Excuse me. Still got that nasty cough from January. Yeah. Anyways, I'd have to check that out. And I was talking with my friends up in New York, and we were going through, and it's like, my sister's going to go and check on it. And it's like, look, check. And if there's this kind of damage, just take the damn thing to a dump and get rid of it. Because I'm not going to drop $3,000-$4,000 just to fix a roof leak on a 1970s trailer.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, when you think about fixing stuff, it's like it costs more to fix it than just to replace or get something different. So, you know.
Yeah, it's that cost
efficiency.
That and older trailers are heavier and whatnot. I'm not
different materials
with my Jeep. So
yeah, you protect the Jeep, protect the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see how it goes. Plus, you know, more modern, cooler things.
Yeah.
But
modernization has more adaptability.
Yeah. So that was the major trip. Plus, of course, my son graduated high school.
Yep.
And he went off and joined the Army. So he's currently in boot camp. He's been calling us every week. He gets like 30 minutes to chat on his phone every Sunday.
Okay.
So, but his graduation's coming up in the first part of September. So I'm going to go out, drive out to see that.
Yep.
And the thing is, I'm making that an interesting road trip because I have an aunt and uncle who are close by. So I reached out to them and said, hey, I got this going on. Would recommend any good places to stay, or would you be open to having a couple of house guests for a couple of days? They said, yeah, we wouldn't mind we'd love to have house guests. So it's like starting to work that deal out.
That's good. You know, get to visit some family relatives. So, and
pair of relatives I don't see all that often. Yeah. And it's like, you know, hey, I'm driving out there, you know, let me hang out with family.
Yep, hang out with family, get to see the graduation from boot camp, and then onward
and upward. And then it's Collingwood and passports and that fun thing, which I'm still working out the logistics on that.
Oh yeah, so hopefully that, like I said, goes through. You get to travel to Canada. Oh, Canada.
Yep, you get to travel to Canada, hang out there. It'll be fun.
Yep. So,
lots
of shenanigans.
Yeah, different work projects and whatnot. We brought a couple of habits back from New York, like Friday night, Saturday night cocktails around the campfire.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a good cocktail.
So, no. We got the whole setup. The whole mixer is set up.
Oh yeah, I love a good drink and a mixed drink. I added a new mixed drink to my palette of ones I like to drink.
What's that?
Went to a wedding in the summer Shenanigans, and I like orange crushes and margaritas and mojitos, my other mixed drinks I like, but then I added a new one that I tried at the wedding, which is a tequila sunrise. So yeah, that's my new drinking rotation if I go out somewhere.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Because I was like, I saw you know, one of the family members get one. I was like, what's that? It's like, it's tequila sunrise, and it's like, all right, I'll go try it. And I was like, I already like tequila, so it already added an awesome palate to it. So, you know,
hey, that works.
Yes, you know, cocktail.
That works. Yeah, I think ours is mainly rum and Cat Morgan and Bacardi.
Yeah, I stay away from the dark liquors. They're not really my friends.
Yeah, so. I mean, that's kind of what we did. So, no. But you know.
Yeah, however it works.
We did see quite a few different wineries and distilleries up in New York. We didn't get to visit any, but there was one my wife really wanted to go and check out. And the reason why she wanted to check it out is because they had a sign that said moonshine slushies.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with the moonshine. Mix it with the slushy, makes it even better.
Yeah, so that next year we'll do a few more little more touristy things.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely maybe hit a winery or two at some point. Not too many.
Well, one of the things I got when I was doing I got a visitor package or a travel package for Newport News.
Yeah.
And one of them was a list of all the wineries and breweries in Hampton Roads to visit. So I think you and I might have to sit down and like, all right, been there, haven't been there. They're good. They suck.
If it's local, then I've been to most of them, except for there's a couple that I haven't been.
I'll have to show you this list, see if that matches up with what your thought is.
Yeah. So definitely, if it's ones that I haven't been to, then I'm down with doing it. It's not too far of a drive. But, you know, I plan to at least go to some wineries, you know, every other month or every once a month. Not trying to build up my collection. I already have a lot. Just try new things.
You have to see how things play out.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to get some credit card debt paid off before I start getting too crazy.
Oh yeah.
Just working on some house projects.
Yeah, but keep it down low. Like, even though don't go to wineries, a lot of places around here to visit. I've been going to Farmhouse a lot more, you know, because that's my spot. But but yeah, other than that, yeah, just looking forward to some knee deep in books. But school's around the corner for me. But hey. But anyways, other summer.
Let's get on to it. So we got some stuff to chat about. I know you've got a lot of stuff to chat about.
Oh yeah. Well, it seems like a lot, but I can wrap it in, and you know I'm pretty good at wrapping it in.
No need to rush or stress.
No rush, but I know how to make the fluidity for you people, for you.
Alrighty,
yeah,
so
it's been
we don't have a review per se.
Yeah, it's a lot of films. So I thought it would be best just to do, like, since we went on break for the summer and coming back near the tail end of summer, everybody knows summer is known as the blockbuster season.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of films dropped during the summer, a lot of good ones, a lot of so-so ones, but it's been the one thing I can emphasize about this summer. It's been the return of the blockbusters. So people have been actually going out the films, and the films have been making the money. And actually what is good is that good films have been making money and good films have been recognized. Well, one of the ones that pretty much a lot of people have seen because they made a lot of money is Top Gun Maverick. So at this moment, the last time I checked, is at 1.3 billion worldwide.
It's funny how Tom Cruise has got a very illustrious career in filmmaking. Right? I mean, he's been doing it since the 80s.
Yeah.
He's got quite a few franchises under his belt, most notably right now is the Mission Impossible franchise.
Yes.
And he's done a lot of hit and miss films, but it's funny, if you watch his body of work before Top Gun, the first one, it was kind of the rom-com hilarity.
Yep. It wasn't Risky Business before Top Gun.
Risky Business. Yeah. Cocktail is one of my favorites of his early work.
Oh yeah.
And he, of course, he was in Legend, which is like, if you're a geek in fantasy genre, that's definitely like one of your go-to ones. To be honest, I don't think I've ever actually sat and watched that one, but I'm well aware of it.
Yeah.
Because Tim Curry is a great villain, no matter what media you see him in.
Yeah.
And then you start looking at after Top Gun, he got into the blockbuster stuff.
Yeah, he got in a lot of the big things, obviously.
Especially working with Jerry Bruckheimer and Michael Bay. He got into some really interesting stuff.
Yeah, he got into a wide variety of things. So, you know, noticeable the Mission Impossible films, you know, you got the Spielberg movies with Minority Report and War of the Worlds. He done one of the most underrated movies, Edge of Tomorrow, which I think is a phenomenal film.
Edge of Tomorrow was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was definitely that was just bad marketing why not a lot of people went to go see it. But if you did see it, it was good.
Had a great catchphrase: "Live, die, repeat."
Live, die, repeat, and he literally lived, died, and repeated. But
but so all of that, and then we look at the fact Top Gun Maverick is the film that has hands down made him the most money per film.
Yeah, it's the most money.
Anything else he's done up until that point.
Even the Mission Impossible ones.
Yeah, and he's running that franchise like whether
which he's 15 now. Yeah, something like that. But I know that he's filming the final two back to back right now, which the first part drops next year. So looking forward to that. But yeah, Top Gun highlights the summer season because of how much money it made, and actually it's like the trigger for the summer season. Like that's the movie that brought everybody back to the theater, because after that, all films, give or take, made money here and there. Everything from Jurassic World Dominion, which it was so to me, but it made its money.
Did we talk about Jurassic World Dominion?
No, it's during the summer break.
That one, let's take a minute on that one, because I saw that one in theater, and I'm planning to buy it just because I'm a completionist for my digital collection. But I got to be honest with you, that movie bored me to tears.
Yeah, we had a conversation when we did your son's dinner. How that movie, what it was not what people really wanted. You wanted a movie about dinosaurs, but it went left field, pretty much.
I don't mind. I mean, the left field part, but it did not. It felt like it catered more to the nostalgia.
It way catered to the nostalgia by just bringing in people.
But I have to agree. The organic nature in which the Jurassic World cast and the Jurassic Park cast came together was fairly organic. It made sense. It was great.
Yeah.
But when you look at the movie as a whole, it's kind of
a hodgepodge of mixture of promises and disappointment. That's how I called it. But even so, it's made its money, and it's just a proven fact that nostalgia can bring people to the theaters.
Yeah. So it was very dull.
But,
it was to me, it felt like if that movie went straight to streaming, I don't think they would have lost money.
Yeah. Well. It is what it is, but this summer has been a good mixed bag of a variety, and variety making money.
How was Black Phone?
Black Phone. You speak about Black Phone. That leads into my other topic of the movie season so far. So Black Phone, as I've mentioned to you off the air, Black Phone is my favorite movie of the year so far. I think it's a phenomenal tale of how you write tension, horror, and character all into one. And horror is becoming one of my favorite genres again, and it's not because of the traditional horror and the jump scares and the stuff.
Are really coming with some stuff to really get you thinking, where it's like, if you were to take that scenario, I mean, it would not be nearly as traumatic. You add in the flair of the fantastical, which is, let's be fair, that's what Hollywood makes their money doing.
Yeah.
Making mundane into fantastical. And we take these mundane scenarios that we take for granted, and somebody finds a way to put it on its head, and next thing you know, you're sitting there questioning whether or not your decisions to go do certain things are all that smart. Because you never know if there's somebody who's really going to be out there. But
that threw me off for a second. But the Black Phone, it's a great mixture of both horror, coming of age, and, like you said, the fantastical, in a way that it builds up the characters, builds the tension, and leads to a satisfying conclusion to where you are, you feel the full journey of the film. Like, the characters are strong, the kid characters are strong. Ethan Hawke plays the person that he called the grabber, because it's a child abduction movie, and he is terrifying just in his minimal expressions and his use of both physical mannerisms and the masks. And it just culminates into not going to spoil anything, to a situation where it pays off everything that was building up.
I have to say, though, if you watched him in Moon Knight, and then you heard about this film, it's not a big leap. No, he's a phenomenal actor. I got to be honest, I don't remember a lot. I don't remember a lot of his early work, and what little bits I do remember, he did not come across nearly as psychological as he does in Moon Knight. And then I haven't seen this, but given what you're saying about this, and given the performance I saw in Moon Knight, it's a phenomenal, and it's like it showcases his range of acting, everything from Training Day to Boyhood to this. Right, he was training. He was in Training Day. He's opposite Denzel. But he's done a lot of stuff, but like these two roles have showcased how strong and gifted of an actor he is, and it tops my list of the best 5 films so far this year in no order. So Black Phone is, for me, my favorite one so far of this year. Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was the movie with all the multiversal shenanigans. Another original pick. People complain about originality. That's an original film that's actually been profitable and done well. Nice. Top Gun Maverick, which we already talked about. The Northman, another original film that's done very well.
Robert Eggers. If you know his name, you'll know his greatness in Coda. So, you know, the summer highlights the overall year so far of the variety of different things, and the fact that regardless of what happened, theaters is still a good place to go experience fun with film.
Oh yeah, and the theaters aren't going away.
No, they're not going away. And just to add tip note, I read a report, I think it's Hollywood Reporter Variety, saying this July 2022 is the first time that a month has crossed $1 billion at the box office since the pandemic. So it's back, you know, the box office is back, baby, as like they like to say.
Nice,
so,
nice.
But
speaking of box offices and all that, we have another milestone in-house with us, and that is you've been doing your website ryreviews.com for 10 years now.
Yeah, August marks 10 years, and my first review was Haywire, which was the Gina Carano movie that I posted at the end of August of 2012. So
congratulations. 10 years of Ry Reviews.
Yes.
So all the stuff we talk about, go to ryreviews.com in the description, all that.
Yeah.
Check out all his reviews, his thoughts, his lists.
And speaking of lists, I am going to go back just to do some kind of anniversary thing. I'm going to go back and revamp my top 10 favorites list because I've seen 10 years worth of film. That list has probably changed. Maybe. But another thing I'm going to add, which I have a few lists out there, 10 best action, best stuff. This one that I don't have out there, which I think I should have at that, is my top 10 favorite directors of all time. So look forward to that posted sometime this month, and we'll talk about it later at some point.
All right, so we're going to shift from the big budget Hollywood to the small budget.
Yep. So small budget ish, but you know,
that's the small screen and some of the TV stuff going on.
Yep. So it's been not only Blockbuster, but it's been a big burning on the TV platform for a variety of reasons.
Oh yeah. I mean, we had Boys season 3, we had Stranger Things season 3 or season 4. Season 4 Stranger Things in 2 parts.
Yep.
We had, which I haven't watched the new season of Stranger Things. I haven't, because I haven't felt so inclined, but the buzz that came out on the music side was just hilarious to me.
Yes, that was great.
I mean, if you've watched it, you know what I'm talking about. That bit where they play, the guy did the cover of Metallica's Enter Sandman or Master of Puppets.
Yeah, Master of Puppets.
Master of Puppets, and then the listening to the fact that, because all right, so while we were in New York, my friends' siblings and their significant others, one of them got married just prior to getting up there, so congrats to him.
Yeah.
They binged and watched all of Stranger Things as a group every night for like a week, and they finally got through it all. But it was while they're doing that, it's like I'm looking at my news feed and I see a comment about Metallica's Master of Puppets is back on the charts and gotten a huge renaissance of listening. And that's a song that came out 30 years ago.
It's by far like I listen to Metallica and I enjoy them, but I'm a big Stranger Things fan. When I heard him play that in the show, I was just like, you played the best song from Metallica. You rock. It was awesome when he played that song in the show.
It was a great sequence. I've seen bits and pieces, but the fact that it's like 30 years since that song came out initially, and now it's back and it's like getting this revamp. So I thought that from Stranger Things, I thought that was probably one of the best kind of happy collateral things that had come up from a series. When it's like, I was lamenting before, like I listened to classic rock, and when I was listening to classic rock as a kid, it was playing certain music, and Metallica was on the modern rock channel. Now I listen to classic rock, and Metallica's in AC/DC and all them are in the mix for classic rock.
Yeah, it makes you, well, yeah, we are getting old. Oh my goodness, people. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
it's just cool that even when you got that age on the song, it still can be relatable in the zeitgeist if it's done in the proper manner.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
That's what I think is great, because when you look at Guardians of the Galaxy and some of the others where they're playing older music,
yep,
as it fits into the story, it's bringing that music back up to the forefront.
yeah, and
which is really good.
and the fact that we have our streaming platforms, Spotify and Apple Music, you can grab to it and grab that, and also with the way that the music plays on the platforms, it can lead into other stuff and experience similar stuff to it.
It's true. Gotta talk about The Boys season 3 with Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy. That was crazy.
That was the most insane season, but I think by far one of the best seasons of TV that I've seen outside of Stranger Things, but I'm kind of biased. But Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy was phenomenal.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Looking forward to what they do in season 4.
And like I mentioned,
but that's on Amazon Prime if you've been under a rock and don't know how The Boys is. But,
but
check that out.
Yeah, I am looking forward to season 4. I'm kind of scared what's going to happen. Not going to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but if you've seen it, you know.
Umbrella Academy, I have not watched that, but I keep hearing about the dance off in the last season.
Oh yeah, it's the Footloose dance off. Yeah,
the Footloose dance off.
Yeah, Footloose. It's in the first episode.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of funny how it comes off because you don't expect it to happen, and it just kind of, even though I told you, you're really not gonna, you're gonna still be like, what?
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of funny how it happens, but it just kind of sets the tone for the season, and it does do the recycling of a similar plot, but like each season, it's an own encompassing story, so it does the same thing where it ends, but there's something more.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, they wrapped up the full series with this final season.
Okay. Did it end well? Was it worth it? Because I know this is one you've been following since it came out.
Yeah, I've been watching this for a few years, and it was a bittersweet end.
Really?
It had a lot of convenient, plot driven things how it ended, but it's based on on true events, so it does what it does because that's how it does it. But it was bittersweet just because it ended. Okay. And it's kind of like when The Last Kingdom ended. It's just like, dang, I've been with these characters for years now. I got to move on to something new. So.
There's always something new.
Yeah, there's always something new.
So let's talk about Miss Marvel, one of the newest Marvel Disney Plus series. I'd be honest, I haven't sat and watched this one yet. I think I've watched part of one episode because my friend threw it on the TV one day while we were in New York, and I hadn't. Some of the context wasn't there, but there was this is a show that's kind of one of those. If you've watched it, you know, but it was one that was like the least watched Disney Plus show.
Yeah, and they said there's a lot of reasons because of the overlap with Obi-Wan, and that's probably. And it's a newer character, so not a people were familiar with it, and that's why Disney has decided to do a couple things with their future episodes. They moved She-Hulk up a few weeks and moved Andor down 4 weeks, so there's no overlap. So I don't know, but Miss Marvel was actually one of my favorites so far. It's actually, out of all the Disney Plus shows, it's my number 2, which Moon Knight's my number 1. It's just that
as far as the Marvel shows or Disney Plus is
Marvel Disney Plus shows.
Okay.
So it's my number 2 because it's just, there's this family element that it focuses on the Pakistani culture and stuff, but great writing happens is, even if it's an unrelated culture to yours, if you can still relate to the character and the dynamic, it makes everything very fruitful. And they do a great job of mixing in a culture that I don't know much about, but also making it relatable. I with like how the superhero element.
I really do appreciate and like how they're doing that with. Yeah. They did that with Moon Knight and focusing on Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight. Yeah. I'm imagine they're going to do just as well. They did just as well with that, from what you're saying, for Pakistani culture. Yeah. And again, I like how we're branching out away from the traditional European or Eastern or American style or North America, European cultures were going into some of these other regions,
and
which
it
have just
does a
as
great
much
job.
rich cultural history and cultural influence because on a lot of other places. So I think that's really great. One of my favorite things about watching the Marvel Assembled documentary series, that's they put out a new episode each time one of these shows or movies comes out, going into that background and going into the decisions they made to put for these people to be doing these shows. So I think it's really great. And of course, the big one for Disney Plus for the summer was Obi-Wan. That was amazing.
I never asked you what you thought about the full series as a whole.
Well, now we can talk about that.
So you go first.
I was happy with the whole thing. More so when you get into some of the background stuff, like seeing Hayden Christensen come back to the franchise.
That was great.
We know he got a lot of hate for his portrayal of Anakin.
Yeah.
And he kind of walked away from acting as a whole because of all the feedback.
Yeah. Even though he's a great actor, if you've ever seen Shattered Glass, check it out.
He's a very good actor, which is why he got picked for the role to begin with. Because he obviously had some talent.
Yeah.
Virtually all the Star Wars actors have gone on to have very successful careers.
But I was glad to see him come back, and actually he brought, more gravitas to it in these 6 episodes.
One of the things that was said was he actually sat and watched the entire Clone Wars and for the act and listened to the way that actor portrayed Anakin as for the rise up through to the fall. So he took some of that in, and I think it was great to see this version of Vader that is just so. I was listening to another podcast, and it was like, Vader is a villain we first saw in 1977.
Yep.
And he has not been changed.
Not at all.
In 40 years. The costume has been improved where, the little more for the construction materials, but the costume hasn't changed.
Yeah.
His whole thing has not changed. And he comes on the scene, and it is just, I was blown away by how much gravitas he brought in.
Yeah, it's very much so. Very much so.
And and one of the things I also like is when they did the flashback sequences, because spoiler, they do a couple of flashback sequences.
Yep.
They didn't de-age the actors. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I noticed it. They didn't de-age it, which I think I know some people were
but
taken
they were
aback.
Accurate into what time period, because if you know from when you watch episode 2, the hairstyles versus episode 3 and episode 1. So it's like, okay, this fit in that particular area.
Yeah. I approved of the non-de-aging because it left the authenticity to it.
It did. And I love the breakout star of the show, which happens to be 10-year-old Leia.
That she was one of my favorite parts, because there was some parts that I didn't like. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm talking about the great parts. She and her dynamic with Obi-Wan just made the show special. Oh, it lifted parts, because there's some episodes that were very generic. Their interactions lifted some of the lethargic dialogue above the material. So when they're on screen in a couple of those episodes that were not so good, those were the best parts of those episodes.
There are a lot of Easter eggs. If you're up to date on all things Star Wars, as far as the show, media, and everything.
Yep.
You're there's some scenes in this that are very good.
Yeah,
and I like how they're very much tying things together, because you played Jedi Fallen Order, right?
Yes, I played Jedi Fallen Order.
Did you like how they went back to the same location from Jedi Fallen Order in the series?
I saw that.
Saw different parts of it.
Yeah, I was like, I know that.
Dude, that's where it's like, I think is where we're really getting it with Star Wars. Yeah. And Andor. Seeing that trailer for Andor, I'm very curious to see how that one goes.
Yeah. Speaking of future shows, there's a lot of good shows coming up. So I'm looking forward to the fall season. So
One show that I watched over it was on Netflix, and that was the final season of Camp Cretaceous.
how did it wrap up for you? How did you like the wrap up?
It wrapped up very well.
Okay.
I thought it gave closure to all the characters. I liked how they fit it in to the broader Jurassic World story.
Okay. And
If you're not familiar with it, check it out on Netflix, but here's basically the premise.
how many seasons is it?
It's 5 seasons.
5 people.
Five seasons.
Okay.
5 seasons, really worth the watch. The premise of the show is like Jurassic World is up and running as we saw in the first Jurassic World movie. And during the events of that film, somebody got this bright idea to take a group of teenagers and put together this kind of summer camp on the island around the dinosaurs. Who thought this was a good idea? I don't know.
Somebody was smart. Sarcasm, anyone?
Coincidentally,
Coincidence.
I'm doing air quotes for those of you who don't watch this in video format. Coincidentally, the first group of campers that have gotten to this island for this program happens to be on the same week that the events of Jurassic World take place. And that's where the series starts, which is really great if you've watched that and you wanted to see what happened off camera and then go back to some of the locations after the film had wrapped up, which I think makes for some really compelling storytelling. And then as it progresses, it just broadens the lore around Jurassic World and Jurassic Park and all of this stuff.
That's always a good thing.
And when they get into their final season, not only are they tying into events leading into the second Jurassic World movie, but they managed to call back prior seasons characters.
That's good.
So there's a very good the conclusion of the series is very fulfilling because there are no loose ends.
That's always good when a show is able to, wrap everything up, albeit, channels or studio cancellations. It's good to wrap it up.
And the thing is, and small spoiler on this.
Small people, small.
But if you watch season 5, there is a reference and a whole story arc that ties right into Jurassic World Dominion.
Okay, that's good to know.
So not only do the events culminate in a pivotal moment of Jurassic World 2, Fallen Kingdom, but there is a reference and a setup and a nod to the original Jurassic Park franchise and Jurassic World Dominion. So I think there was very clever writing all the way across the board.
I'll definitely have to check it out with the slew of other things that I'm going to be watching, and I'll mention one of those later.
Yeah, so. I mean, most of the episodes are only about 8 to 10 episodes. They're about 15 episodes on average. They're about a half hour a piece. So it's not a terrible binge. Like I pretty much went through a season back to back because it was just so compelling. But definitely check it out. It was a lot of fun to watch. And it was originally conceived and put out as a holdover for the next live action Jurassic Park film. And if you remember, if you've been a long time listener and go back to when we first talked about this show, I had said then, and I stand by it now, this would have done very well as a live action series if they had the budget for it.
It probably would have, if you have good writing,
Yeah, very good writing. And the animation doesn't make things too fantastical. So I think it's got some very cool elements if you're a fan of the franchise. But yeah, so that was the last one.
Yeah.
I watched, and then other than that, it's been binging YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I was rewatching a History Channel series on the Enterprise and the Pacific Theater of World War II.
Okay.
And the Enterprise, the original Enterprise, CV6. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been watch a lot of random stuff on YouTube as well.
I like how YouTube, like history, you get some of the older history shows on YouTube now.
Yeah.
Because trying to find them on the app, I'm sorry, Discovery Plus, I'm gonna call you out on that.
Yeah.
You need to pull up that library of older shows and older documentaries and throw that up, because there are a whole group of us I know who much rather watch some of the older documentary style content versus the reality show nonsense.
This guy right here. This guy.
Same thing with CBS, and get all of CSI Vegas, OG CSI up there, because we got one of the things we were doing in New York is we were watching CSI at night as we were getting ready for kind of hanging out before we went to bed, and so did a lot of rewatching of CSI Miami and CSI Vegas. I went to my CBS app, or my Paramount Plus app.
Yep.
Pulled up the original CSI. They got the first season, and then they got the last two.
That's interesting.
Which is like, okay, season 1 and season 16.
Yeah.
Or 20 something or whatever it is, because that show ran forever.
Yeah, that's a long show.
There's no, you don't see season 2 through 10. It's not there. And they had a lot of really great story arcs.
Yeah.
You can find all of CSI Miami, find all of CSI New York, but you can't find all of CSI OG CSI.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they put it up there one day.
I'm hoping so. They even got the new CSI Vegas where they rebooted the show with some of the original cast.
I saw that.
I was like, okay. Speaking of reboots, let's talk about Comic-Con.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, Comic-Con.
Let's start off with artwork for X-Men 97. I did not get a chance to check any of this out.
Yeah.
So, right. Tell me.
So, Comic-Con came back with a roar. And one of the things, like you pointed out, one of my wow moments is the artwork for the X-Men 97. If you're not familiar, X-Men 97 is actually a sequel series that is being produced by Marvel Studios that pick up exactly at the end of the original X-Men animated series when, spoiler alert, Professor X gets has to go to the Shi'ar Empire because of his, disease or whatever. Illness. But
for a whole generation, this is how we got introduced to the X-Men. Was
this guy right here?
Was this animated cartoon that was a Saturday morning cartoon that at the time was starting to address content and material that you had a hard time finding that in adult shows.
Yeah, it was great.
And kids were addressing it. I mean, they did not pull punches.
No, and they adapted a lot of the most famous arcs from the series up until that point from the comics. But speaking of it, they did drop images for the animation. Most of the original voice cast is coming back. Some passed away, so they have to recast some. But the first image they showed up was the OG team. So it showcased all the OG team with some nuances to their uniform. A lot of it is still, same old. But one thing I noticed is that Storm does have a mohawk this time. So you got the original ones that were part of the team there. So Gambit, Rogue, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Jubilee, Wolverine, Storm. So those were the OG. Then it showed Magneto, who's going to be leading the team in the new series, and they showed him in a new purple uniform, and he doesn't have his helmet on. He's straight just letting the locks flow. But the third image showcased the extension, because the X-Men are actually growing. So they're going to have extension, more members part of the team, not just the OG. So some of the people they showcased that are going to be part of the team this time around is Nightcrawler, Cable, Cable, Bishop, Forge. Forge was one of the characters from the animated, and the fifth one was Sunspot. So nice. They're going to be joining the X-Men as full-fledged members.
That is going to be interesting.
And season 2 will begin in fall 2023. So we're still a year out.
We haven't even gotten the first season to drop, and they've already confirmed season 2.
Yeah, of a season. No, they confirmed a season 2, and fall 2023 is when the season 1 drops. So they're already in pre-production for a season 2.
Gotcha. Speaking of Marvel, Kevin Feige got up and did not disappoint by showcasing not only Phase 5, but also
Phase 5?
Phase 6.
What? Phase 6? What?
Phase 5 and 6.
Yes.
And now 5 looks like it has quite a few things going on.
It has a lot of shenanigans, but the big thing for me is that we have an official date for Blade. November 3rd, 2023, guys.
I can't wait to check that out.
And the big thing that got me riled up. One of the big things that got me riled up. There's 5 things on this list.
Yeah,
but one of the things, Daredevil, Born Again.
Which we already saw a teaser if you watch the She-Hulk trailer of him showing up in an older style uniform
and
versus his newer style uniform.
And it's not going to be the 6 episode in the Shenanigans, not even 12. How many episodes?
18 episodes.
So you know what that means? It's going to be like 4 months of Daredevil if they do an episode a week. So I'm excited for that.
Well, it depends on how many they drop in the first one. Like we've seen Kenobi drop the first 2 episodes on the first night.
Yep.
Andor's dropping 3.
Yep.
3. I mean,
of a 12 episode series. So that helps.
So that'll be interesting.
She-Hulk is going to be 9 episodes. So.
All right. And of course we got a reveal for trailer reveal for Wakanda Forever.
That trailer I watched multiple times. I cried every single time I watched it. I am so looking forward to seeing what they do. Because, you know, the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman. But it looks like in Ryan Coogler we trust. He's a great director. He's a great script writer. So it looks like he's found a way.
Look at the success of the first one.
Yeah.
And hands down, that's the end of the conversation. In terms of his ability as a director and writer.
If you're a comic book nerd like me, if you pay attention to the trailer, this is me putting my tinfoil hat on, might be hinting at Doctor Doom. Hint. Rumor.
Shall see.
Yeah.
I mean, we see Namor, and that'll be pretty big to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I am excited to see what's going to happen. But, you know, I hope they reveal Doctor Doom at some point because we are getting a specific Avengers movie.
Now, you're a big Lord of the Rings fan, so they dropped
that's
the
an
trailer
understatement.
for Lord of the Rings.
Oh my God. Like, me being a Lord of the Rings nerd, I have said this 100,050,000 times on this podcast. Bucket list or things I don't think they would ever do in my lifetime. 2 things. Was one is a Pokemon MMO, which they still haven't done, but they got close with Pokemon Arceus. And the other thing was that I thought they would never do was adapt the Second Age of Middle-earth in some kind of format.
And
movie or
here we
TV.
have Amazon, who has dropped billions of dollars per episode.
Yes.
To bring us the
Second
Age of Middle-earth. And it looks like it'll be very interesting to see.
Watching this, I nerdgasm a lot because of all the stuff I know about Middle-earth and a lot of stuff I know about the history, the First Age, the Second Age, all about the Valar, about the rise and fall of Numenor and everything that happens in the Second Age. Every little tidbit in that full trailer showcased to me that they are going to adapt this part of Middle-earth that most of us don't know and make it amazing.
Alrighty. And the last thing to wrap up is the D&D Honor Among Thieves trailer dropped.
I will leave this one to you since you are the D&D expert.
Since this is like the first time I've heard Comic-Con having so much D&D related content, because I know people from Realmsmith were out there, people from Critical Role was out there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did see that.
So many people in the TTRPG space and D&D there at Comic-Con. And of course, Wizards pulled out Hasbro and Wizards pulled out all the stops, and they showed off the trailer for the new D&D movie, Honor Among Thieves, which is due to come out in March 2023.
Yep.
And they had the cast up there for a panel, and I liked the last D&D film that they released.
I never saw it.
It with Marlon Wayans and Jeremy Irons, and it wasn't bad. But this one is like, okay, it's on.
Yeah. From the feeling I got watching it, just the surface level I know about D&D, when I watched it, I thought about you, Scoob, because I thought about this must be how a D&D game goes.
And that's the vibe that we're going for. And I like how this one's actually done by Wizards. This isn't somebody taking the IP and writing a story. This is, and we've seen this with several studios. Like, let's take a look at the studio that does League of Legends.
Okay.
They wanted to adapt their property to another media. Rather than source out somebody else to do it, they turned it in-house, and we got Arcane.
Which is one of the best animated shows I've seen in the last few years.
Marvel, for years, has handed out their character rights to different studios.
Yep.
And with the exception of a few gems,
Spider-Man 2. Days of Future Past.
Days of Future, yeah, aside from a few gems in all of that time,
yeah,
it wasn't until Marvel went in-house with Marvel Studios and gave us Iron Man that now we have this juggernaut of a franchise. So I'm optimistically thinking that we're gonna see when this drops, it's going to do well because the content and the property are being handled by people who are passionate about it,
yep,
and not somebody else.
Yep. And March is looking like a good month of that year.
The funniest thing is the fact that there was actually a bit of drama after that trailer dropped.
Really? What kind of drama?
If you watch the trailer, the druid character turns into an owl bear.
Okay.
Which is a part of a druid ability called Wild Shape.
Okay.
They can transform into any beast.
Ah.
Here's the catch. An owl bear is technically not a beast per the monster manual. It is a monstrosity, which means it was created by magic.
Interesting.
So, per rules as written, druids cannot turn into owl bears.
That's interesting.
However, Rule 0 always applies. And that is the dungeon master can overwrite the rule because in the end, the goal is to have fun.
Okay.
So that was part of the response is like, well, if you want to turn into an owlbear, turn into an owlbear. We can make it work.
There you go.
That's what it is. But that was a little bit, people were kind of, some diehard rules as written only people, but the rest of a lot of others of us who are like, rule of cool. I'm sorry, rule of cool. This is going to be fun. Let it ride.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm not going to. No, enjoy the ride.
Yeah, enjoy the ride.
If it fits the film, it's a different medium. If it fits the story, it works.
And I like the cast. I like the interaction of the cast. Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez.
their interactions look good.
I love watching Chris Pine's work. He has such a great presence.
Yeah, he has this aura about him. Like even in crappy films, he just makes those scenes just lively.
Shadow Recruit. But the thing is, and even when he's in a supporting role character, not the main character, he brings a different kind of air to it because I just really enjoy his stuff. And of course, this is a guy who's got some major franchises tied to his name.
Yep, Star Trek. Name one.
One of the biggest ones.
Yep. So, but this might be the next big one. So, March 2023 is looking like a fun month. Not only do we have D&D, that's when the Aquaman sequel comes out. So, we're going to have 2 juggernauts in March of next year.
Especially now that they've announced that it's confirmed that Ben Affleck's Batman will be in Aquaman 2.
Yep. Even if it's just a little cameo, that just makes it more exciting.
Nope, I'm good with that. I mean, we got Michael Keaton's Batman in the Flash movie.
Does that movie exist?
Well, so far the Batgirl one has been canceled.
Yeah, there's reasons for that. You go into all the news websites.
That was post-production, wasn't it? It was ready to drop.
They were still filming it. They were 90 million in, and the new owners of Warner Brothers, because it's Warner Brothers Discovery now, said not worth it, and just that's what it said. That's what the news report said. They're cutting their losses and writing it off as a tax write-off. So,
wow.
Yeah, because they said test viewings of the movie were terrible. So they said instead of releasing terrible, we're just going to cut our losses.
You know what? That's smart.
And they're keeping the Flash is still coming out in June of next year.
There probably won't be another one after it.
Yep.
Because that's all wrapped up because all the
Shenanigans
going on with Ezra Miller.
But word on the street is it's actually a pretty good movie. That's why they're going to hopefully, people outside of the Nerdom probably don't know a lot of stuff that's happening with Ezra, so it probably won't affect them. So we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, to be fair, Secrets of Dumbledore was a snore and just horrible. in my opinion, in terms of the fact it wasn't a very engaging movie, and that was the last project we saw Ezra Miller do.
Yep.
And now we've got the new Flash, so it's like, all right, let's see how this goes.
Yep. So
The only thing left is seeing Henry Cavill come back as Superman.
yep. And rumors is he's fighting Black Adam in Black Adam movie, so we'll see if that happens.
We shall see.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to kind of see that bit in there. Black Adam should be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah. Rock always gets me to go see his movies. So if you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Oh yeah. Alrighty, so I think the only thing left on our to-do list is odds and ends.
Oh yes, our fabled odds and ends. So there's not a lot, but some unique
We got a couple of
ones.
stories. We've been running a little long today, so thank you for sticking with us so far.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, let's get a couple
wrap-
of odds and ends.
And on some weird notes. So
Oddly enough, I think I want to do the second story first, and that's the what is it, the peanut race.
yeah, peanut race. So as reported in the Ripley's, there was a Colorado man who used his nose to push a peanut 12.6 miles up Pikes Peak. And if nobody knows what Pikes Peak is, it's a mountain in Colorado.
There's a 53-year-old Colorado resident trek up a 115-foot mountain. 7 days pushing a peanut to the summit using his nose. And there's a picture in this with him with some kind of contraption on his face for his nose for doing this peanut. And
so yeah,
that's hardcore.
Yeah, that's hardcore. That's dedication. So he made a homemade contraption, quote, out of a spoon taped to a CPAP sleep machine, end quote. So, oh yeah. But yeah, that is dedication. That's all I gotta say is because I don't know if I would do that.
I like how we're here. It's like he broke the record set in 1929 when it was previously done, and that person took 22 days.
Yes.
So the fact he did it in 7.
That's dedication, guys. But his name will be remembered for years to come.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And our other story for tonight, since we talked about vacations and oceans and different visiting, let's talk about a company that is turning crab into whiskey.
Yes, as an article reported in NPR, there is a distillery that is the way they are fighting invasive crabs is by turning them into whiskey.
Now, this is a species called green crabs. They're an invasive species, which means they're destroying the local what's the word I'm looking for?
Ecosystem.
Thank you. Destroying the local ecosystem. So
yeah, and they've been doing it for 200
species, most governments are like, free reign, get as many as you can. Well, what are you going to do when you get them?
I don't know, but this New Hampshire distillery decided, hey, we're going to take these crabs and make it a crab flavored whiskey. So, quote, green crabs are so abundant that it's going to take a lot more than whiskey to curb this population, but it'll probably bring some awareness to the issue and actually invent some creative solutions to do it.
Well, considering this is an invasive species since the 1800s.
Yeah. So they've been invasive for a long time, but that just means a lot of crabs, a lot of whiskey, people, a lot of whiskey. So it's a good, not only is it creating a new flavor of whiskey, but it's also helping to probably curtail some ecosystem
I think
dynamics.
just for giggles, I would try this.
Yeah.
Now, we've heard some really crazy drink choices. Again, I'm going to reference the mentioned previously French fried flavored vodka from Arby's.
Yes, I would try that. Yes. And I would try this too.
Yeah, vodka and whiskey. Yeah.
So, and just to add some more into it, it's like the mixture, a quote, is mixes of spices like mustard seed, coriander, and cinnamon, then combines it with a bourbon base. So, also, quote, the bottle of whiskey uses about a pound of green crabs, but one distillery alone isn't going to make much of a dent into the population. So, they're hoping that there'll be more solutions to this crab problem. But hey, I think I'll try to grab some of this whiskey. Probably.
I think that would be a good way to see ourselves out.
All right.
So thank you for checking us out. You guys are wonderful and amazing.
Thank you all.
Again, a shout out and a thank you to Sirenscape. They make a lot of great soundboards and background music.
Namaste. Thank you.
All types of tabletop experiences, sci-fi, fantasy, all kinds of things. Check them out at sirenscape.com. If you want to support the studio, the best thing you can do that is subscribe, leave us a review, all that kind of fun stuff. But if you'd like to do more, there is a Patreon. It still exists. You can head on over to patreon.com/scuba studio and consider being a patron. We do have some behind the scenes stuff that we post on occasion, a few other things, but a lot of it just helps us keep doing this show. So if you enjoy it, please give us a review, give us a like, and check us out, and we will see you at our next episode.
Peace. I'll try that whiskey. I like crab.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah. But then I would do the fry vodka too.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd do that too.
Yeah.